Sequel number 39 of the Church of Uganda at 150 years, a celebration of our history, with Christopher Amos Chikomeko Ntambi as the producer. Welcome. In this sequel, we shall revisit the arrival of the full Uganda Bible from Genesis to the book of Revelation. We shall also look at the arrival of a new group of missionaries. And then, of course, now we shall revisit Bishop Tucker and revisit his journey to Great Britain in 1896. And so, let us begin. The completed Uganda Bible was nicknamed the Biscuit Tin Bible. It was published by the British and Foreign Bible Societies. It arrived in Uganda in November 1896 with the returning missionaries Pilkington and Baskerville. They were also accompanied by a missionary called England and a lady called Miss Gardner. It was a very thick book which fitted into a biscuit tin of that time. Tins were good stores for books to escape destruction by pests and rats. I earlier warned you that these audio videos have some good pictures. So if you notice on today's sequel audio video, you'll be able to see a picture of the Biscuit Bible, such a voluminous book. The Biscuit Tin Bible sold like hotcakes, and close to 1,000 copies were sold out, and a fresh reprint had to be ordered. It was also sold out even to regions that did not speak Luganda. So, we celebrate the arrival of the full Bible in our midst. Okay, now let's visit Bishop Tucker and see what is happening to him. Before that, he's receiving visitors. As Bishop Tucker was preparing to leave for England, missionaries in Uganda arrived, a very big group. They arrived on the 11th of January 1897, and another part which had split up arrived on the 19th of February 1897. After their arrival, they were of course deployed within the different CMS stations across the region. Mengo Hospital, they deployed there Dr. Albert Cook, and they deployed there a nurse called Timpson Kate, a trained nurse. In other deployments, the Ngogwe Mission Station, which was headed by Blackledge, they put there somebody called Martin Hall. They also put there Miss Pilgrim and Miss Bird. The Gayaza Mission Station had Purius, Miss Thomset, and Miss Brown. The Bulemezi Mission Station had Barclay and Lewis. The Single Mission Station had Sagden, Fletcher, and Wigram. The Busoga Mission Station was given Rowling, Alan Wilson, and Witherhead. The Bukedi Mission Station was given Crabtree. The Kochi Mission Station was given Leakey and Clayton. The Toro Mission Station was given Fisher and Callis, although Callis died sometimes in April 1897. The Nakanyonyi Mission Station was given Tegat and Leod. The islands of Lake Victoria were given a missionary called Gordon, and Northern Tanganyika, the NASA Mission, was given to a missionary called Wright. In 1897, Miss Chadwin, who in 1896 had commenced a mixed school at Namirembe, joined hands in establishing Mengo Central School as the first formal primary school in Uganda. At that time, missionary Hatsley, the expert who Bishop Tucker had wanted to come and establish this junior school, was yet to arrive. So Miss Thomset also started a formal school at the CMS station at Gayaza, and Miss Bird started one at Ngogwe. But then why do we celebrate Mengo as the only one which began in 1897? Because the Gayaza one and the Ngogwe one failed to take off as junior schools. They remained at the standard of bush schools. Bush schools were everywhere, even as far as Bunyoro. So it was only Mengo Central School which successfully took off as a modern junior school, and it is therefore the pioneer modern junior school in the whole of Uganda. And now let's go to Bishop Tucker. Bishop Tucker left Freiretown and returned to Great Britain for a visit in 1896. He returned to England, where he reached on the 20th of November 1896, and while there was able to attain the enthronement of the new Archbishop of Canterbury, the Most Reverend Frederick Temple. Frederick Temple had been nominated on the 9th of November 1896, and he was enthroned the Archbishop of Canterbury on the 8th of January 1897. Bishop Tucker attended the occasion, after which he began to work on the documents to justify a division of the Eastern Equatorial Africa Diocese. He wanted it divided in two dioceses, the Diocese of Uganda and the Diocese of Mombasa. He documented that the distance to and from Freiretown, his headquarters, was too big. He also argued that Uganda's church was so massively growing and needed closer supervision. That was the reason he gave for the establishment of a Uganda diocese, or if not, an assistant bishop resident in Uganda. Now, the division, he argued and tabled, that was to be fully financed by the Church Missionary Society. Therefore, Missionary Church Society, the Christian Missionary Society, was fully behind the bishop. It was actually the bishop putting the proposal on the table of the Archbishop of Canterbury, backed by his employers, the Church Missionary Society. Bishop Tucker surprised Archbishop Temple by choosing to serve as the resident bishop of Uganda, or call him Assistant Bishop of Eastern Equatorial, resident in Uganda, if a diocese was not to be created, rather than remaining the Bishop of Mombasa, if the diocese were to be split. He had already chosen Uganda. He would not remain in Mombasa. Now, that surprised Archbishop Temple very much. And he asked CMS to therefore nominate somebody who would then take up Mombasa if the Canterbury was to accept that two dioceses be formed, the Uganda diocese and the Mombasa diocese. Mombasa diocese would therefore look after Tanganyika and Kenya, and the Uganda diocese would look after Uganda and part of northern Tanganyika. The Nasa mission station will also fall in Uganda diocese. So they sat, and these were resolved, and it was agreed that the two dioceses therefore be merged or carved out of the Eastern Equatorial Diocese. So the Equatorial Diocese would cease to exist, and in its place, the Diocese of Uganda and Mombasa would be born. Now, Tucker requested to be Bishop of Uganda, so there would be no need for one there. but Mombasa required a nomination. Bishop Tucker and the CMS issued the document justifying the split. Actually, not even the split, but the total end to the Eastern Equatorial Africa Diocese and a creation of Uganda and Mombasa. This was documented and tabled in October 1897. Now, very important, listen to this date. On the 25th of October 1897, the seal of approval for the creation of the Diocese of Uganda and Mombasa and for the seizing of the Eastern Equatorial Africa Diocese came into effect. Yeah? So therefore, Uganda Diocese was born on the 25th of October 1897. Mombasa Diocese was born on the 25th of October 1897. And the Diocese of Eastern Equatorial Africa Diocese ceased to exist on the 25th of October 1897. However, Bishop Tucker would remain the acting bishop of Mombasa Diocese because there was not yet a nomination. As a matter of fact, the Church Missionary Society or the Christian Missionary Society delayed the nomination of a bishop for Mombasa, and Tucker remained in office all the way to 1898. However, he had to leave. He had to leave for Uganda, and therefore Mombasa remained a bishopric vacant seat until 1899, when a nomination was confirmed, as we shall see in future sequels. Meanwhile, in 1897, when Bishop Tucker was still in Great Britain, Queen Victoria marked 60 years on the throne. This was on the 22nd of June, 1897. In Uganda, this was celebrated as well at the Nakasero government fort. A grand reception on the 22nd of June 1897 was held. And guess who appeared? Mwanga II. He was in attendance. The two catechulos, Kagwa and Mugwanya, and the other chiefs were in attendance. Also missionaries, both from the Mill Hill missionaries in Zambia, from the White Fathers at Lubaga, and the Church Missionary Society missionaries attended, as were many Europeans and also soldiers of the Uganda Rifles. The Assistant Commissioner, Wilson George Tayari, who was therefore, as I told you earlier, no longer in very good relationship with Mwanga, invited Mwanga to speak. And when Mwanga spoke, according to what Archdeacon Walker has written in his diary, Mwanga spoke with no heart in his speech. Now, this is very interesting. Can somebody give a speech when his heart is not in that speech? Can somebody attend a ceremony when his heart is not in that ceremony? Oh yes, I've seen it. I've seen a world bishop attend a ceremony when his heart is not in that ceremony. You could see it in the gestures. You could see it in the sermon he gives. This is very possible. So this happened to Mwanga as well. He was at a ceremony where his heart was not deeply in there, and this is according to Archdeacon Walker writing in his diary. Mwanga spoke, but his heart was not in his speech. Wow. History. Anyway, that's for today. Tomorrow, we shall then see what happened next. May the good Lord bless us all.